Okay, Bible Story, Volume 5, Part 2, Story 2, Valley of Red Ditches. And that's with a D. Because I'm down here in the South and my diction is a little funny, so. And then some of these little kids are mean. Okay, but let me digress of my personal life and let's get back to the story. Okay, Part 2, Story 2, Valley of Red Ditches. From Mount Carmel, Elisha went to Samaria. He traveled a great deal, much as Elijah had done before him, not stopping very long in any one place. One day there was a loud knocking on the door of the humble college where he was staying. Going to see who it was, there he found a crowd of armed men outside. In their midst were two royal figures in fine armor. He recognized them at once. The old bearded man was Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, and the other was young Jehoram, the king of Israel, who had ascended to the throne of his brother Ahasuerus. Ahaziah fell out of the palace window and died from his injuries. The son of Ahab, he was as wicked as his father. The two kings said that they had come to talk with Elisha about an important matter. Suddenly turning to Jehoram, Elijah asked what he meant by coming to the prophet of the Lord. Go to your own prophets, he said to him, the prophets of your father and your mother. If it were not for the presence of Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, he said, I wouldn't even look at you or see you. It was hardly a tactful way of talking to a king, but Elisha was a very brave man, and he wanted Jehoram to know that he strongly disapproved of his evil ways. Because good King Jehoshaphat was there, Elisha agreed to listen to their story. They were both in great trouble. Their armies had started out to fight the Moabites, thinking to surprise them by attacking them from the east. They had taken a long detour through the desert country and now were out of water with but nothing to drink for man or beast. They were at the mercy of their enemies. What would they do now? Had Elisha something to suggest? Elisha called for a minstrel, a guitar player, and while sweet music was playing, the hand of the Lord came upon him, and he said, Thus saith the Lord, make this valley full of ditches. For thus saith the Lord, I shall not see wind, ye shall not see wind, neither shall ye see rain. Yet the valley shall be filled with water, that ye may drink, both ye, your cattle, and your beasts. And this is but a light thing in the sight of the Lord. He will deliver the Moabites unto your hand. I can almost hear Jehoram, Jehoram scoffing. Dig ditches in a dry valley? What an idea! But Jehoshaphat believed God's word. I'm going to end it with me saying a word. And there's Elisha with the two kings in the illustration. And it has a JC on it. Okay. But Jehoshaphat believed God's prophet, and the ditches were dug. Those ditches proved his faith. Early the next morning, as the sun rose in the cloudless sky, the air was still and there was no sign of rain. But suddenly, down one of the mountain ravines by the way of Edom came a raging stream of water. It spread over the valley floor and filled the ditches to overflowing. Soldiers, horses, and cattle drank greedily, and their strength revived. But this time, of course, the Moabites were awakened and ready for battle. Looking eastward, they saw the soldiers of Israel behaving in such a strange manner. While some were standing, others were kneeling, and still others were lying flat on their stomachs. And there was blood all about them, or it seemed, as the early morning sun was reflected from the water-filled ditches. "Look, they're killing one another," they cried, and dashed down the mountain to finish off the invaders of their country. Of course, they had made a dreadful mistake. When they reached the ditches, they found they were full of water, not blood. Maybe some of them fell into the ditches and were drowned. Anyhow, the Israelites had seen them coming and were ready for them. Thanks to God, the God of Elisha, what might have been a bad defeat was turned into a great victory. And then, of course, it has an illustration of them drinking water out of these ditches. And that was story 2, part 2, story 2. And like always, it's break. So I'm going to break it up, and then we're going to start in a little bit.